Hey, party people. Welcome to this week's episode of the Party Invite Show. I'm your host, Tegan, joined by Vilos.
Yes, that's me right here.
And Obsydianyte.
Hello.
The three of us are here to talk about a party topic this week. We covered what we've been playing last week. We'll be back again with that next week. But today, we're doing a recap of the Nintendo Direct, Sony State of Play, and Tokyo Game Show. Those all took place in the past week or two. So I know that you guys are especially excited about the first two. Tokyo Game Show is happening today. But before we get into the details of all those announcements and all that good stuff, let's blissen up a little bit. Let's open up with the things that made us smile this week, whether that's gaming or non-gaming. And we're always looking for submissions from the chat. You can type those here live on Twitch, or you can give them to us in our Blissen Up channel on Discord at discord.gg/partyinviteshow. It's popping over there, y'all. We're playing lots of games and doing all sorts of stuff. I'll say that my Blissen Up is from our Discord this weekend. We played a new server of Project Zomboid. We set up some new settings and had some new players play with us. We had, I think, 7 people playing at once. And Project Zomboid is a game where the more people you play with, the more fun it gets. It opens up all sorts of avenues for chaos and for collaboration. It's really good stuff. Project Zomboid's a lot of fun. Survival sim game that looks like it was made by the people who made The Sims 2 back in the early 2000s. But it's fun stuff. So we started up a new server. The whole point of this one is that we've loaded up a bunch of mods. Zomboid is the first game I've ever played where I've really embraced mods. Because the base game's fun, but once you've spent a few dozen hours in it, you've seen most of it for the most part. So we added a bunch of mods, everything from cool different cars to the ability to read much more quickly, because in single player you can speed up time when you read books or go to sleep, but you cannot do that in multiplayer. And reading a book for like 3 hours of real life time does not sound like an exciting experience. So a mod to fix that. But the one we've really focused on this time is like the movie I Am Legend. It now makes zombies fear the sun. So during the daytime, they go inside. They're pretty docile. I actually wish they were a little bit more aggressive. So we're going to tweak those settings a little bit. But at night, they become sprinters and they come out of their houses and they're very spooky. So,
I don't like that.
It's pretty scary. When we tried this the other day, we hadn't gotten the Fear the Sun mod installed yet, so we just had the night sprinters, and we didn't know exactly what time of in-game day that they would start sprinting, but we found out. we thought it was 10 o'clock, and then we thought it was 10:30. But it turned out to be 11 o'clock, and at 11 o'clock each night, you could hear everyone be like, oh, they're coming right for me! Get inside! And Odysseus and Deadpool are our resident pros. I mean, honestly, everybody kills way more zombies than I do. I'm always inside, like, rearranging the bookshelf and, transferring the contents of one map to another. All this organizational stuff that makes it, everybody gets to play their own way, which I appreciate. But even the zombie killers over there, the real professionals, they actually died. They never die. Not really. So that was fun to see them faced with the challenge, even if, maybe it warranted some tweaking to the settings. But that was a lot of fun. I know Odysseus over here, I'll say his Blissen Up here is that he had 400 hours in Project Zomboid, everybody. 400 hours.
Wow, yeah.
It's a lot of hours.
Yeah. That does deserve a trophy of some magnitude.
So yeah, we'll be back at that again this weekend. We've been trying to play on Wednesdays and Saturdays. I'll drop a link to the specific Zomboid chat in our Discord here in Twitch chat, but that's been a lot of fun. That's been good stuff. I could talk about other stuff, but I'll save it for the game stream later when we play Party Animals. How about you guys? Anything make you smile this week?
Well, speaking of party animals, I actually ended up streaming it on my own stream last night. And not only was it a lot of fun, but it apparently attracted a lot of attention because I got rated like 4 times last night.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy. And like the reason that makes me happy, it's not because, oh my God, raid, oh. It's because like people like have entrusted like their communities to me, right? When they do that. they feel like that I'm the kind of person that their community would be comfortable like being around and watching and seeing and interacting with, and that's what makes me happy is because like with the sovereignty, I try to like create a space for everybody to come in and chill and play and hang out and talk and stuff. Like even one of my regulars was like having a bad day. Like it was I'm not gonna go into like details or anything, but they were basically having a bad day, and we kind of just talked about it together. Like some streams you don't, some streams you go into and they're like quote unquote no trauma dumping or whatever, like, and that's fine. Like you have to play it by ear, read the room, and things like that. Of course, DMs are always going to be open for everybody, and no one's like officially a licensed therapist unless they are. But like I feel like, if there's something that's like really, really bugging you to where it's like affecting your mood, like if you're like, watching somebody and you still can't like get into the vibe or whatever, like it's okay to like say a little something, I feel.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got off on a tangent there, but like that made me happy that the people really trusted me with their communities. And the other thing that I have for Blissen Up is that Nintendo recently announced their aquarium experience at the like Seattle Aquarium, I think is actually what it's called.
Yeah, they
So
did the critter experience or something. Critter something.
is it? I wonder if it's just going to be like um just aquarium stuff because Animal Crossing does have the aquarium
Mhm.
feature right for their museum, but I wonder if it's also going to be like fossils and bugs and stuff too, like the complete museum experience, or if it's just going to be the aquarium.
I would die if that were the case because I would literally have to find my way over there.
Hey,
Look, I'm about to. If
If
that's the case,
fossils
I'm
and
selling all the feet.
like, we're
You
gonna
laugh,
co-op
but I'm
this.
serious. I'm gonna go out there if that's the case.
Co-op this, make about 10 grand. Go out, sit on Tegan's couch.
hell yeah, it's right here for you. Offer still stands.
Do
Yeah.
you have like a roof space for me?
Well, if it was Zomboid, I could build you one. So give me some time.
I like sleeping on the roof because I'm a cat.
Always got to be on the highest point.
That's right.
So I can look down upon the plebeians.
Well, yeah, Lizzie sent that to me today as well. So if she's excited about it, we'll probably go check it out. She's been to the aquarium before, but I have not. So I've been around it many times. I mean, I've been inside of it in The Last of Us 2. Does that count? Actually, a funny thing about that is the Seattle Aquarium. I had a picture in my head of what it would look like because of The Last of Us 2. That's not what it looks like. Like some games like Spider-Man, I think we talked about it last week, have a pretty close to 1-to-1 ratio. Like you could see something in the game and potentially use that to actually navigate around the city to some extent. So I was hoping that it would be the same with the aquarium. It was not, but NBD.
That's so heartbreaking to me.
I mean, it's a testament to how well they fleshed out that monument, I guess, a landmark is what I meant, in that game, because you're all up in its business through a good portion of that game. It did make me excited to go check it out. So yeah, with having Animal Crossing do a collaboration, I'm interested to see what it is because I haven't clicked any details. I only saw the social posts that you guys shared. So yeah, if I go, you'll see some pictures in Discord. That's for sure.
I will live vicariously through them.
I hope so. I did go to see a fish ladder. I mentioned this briefly on your stream the other day. In here, there's a neighborhood called Ballard that's pretty cool, and it has the Ballard locks in it. So a lock is where it's just like a canal, or it's like it's like the Panama Canal. You go the water's different on each side, so boats have to go into it, and then the water is raised or lowered so they can go out the other side. So that was cool to see. I haven't actually seen that in person. And then right next to that are the salmon locks, the Ballard locks, where the salmon need to get from the other part of the sound near the ocean to their spawning grounds. So they need to go up into this area. So the conservationists have made what is called a fish ladder, which I do have a picture of that I'll share here in a minute. That the salmon will jump up in. And the way they have it set up is you can actually see where the fish, they jump up basically into a pocket of water, like a big concrete, I don't know, this little area, this cube-ish area. And they do that one after another until they get to the top. But you can actually go down below and see them from the side. There's glass paneling, so you can see all the different kinds of salmon just chilling in there and read all about them and stuff. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
It's legit.
It is legit. So
I just never have heard the term fish ladder before you mentioned that, and I was just like, the mental imagery in my head was like not what I thought it was going to be. Like, you know
well,
what I mean?
oh, I know what you mean. It's no fish launcher. Have you seen the salmon launchers that are? It's basically like a
Wait, the ones that like the
So
little pipes where they like, oh
yeah,
they're
no,
like they're like half-mile long pipes,
yeah,
like just a tube that just goes forever, and those suckers are literally flying out of there. Just
flying.
it's
wow,
suction and it's awesome.
Why haven't we seen that in a video game where you play as
salmon simulator.
Yeah.
salmon simulator?
Yo, that's a 10 out of 10 game.
10 out of 10 right there. We should have added that. We're gonna add that to our next Frankenstein game. When we make one, we're like, okay, there has to be a fish launching a salmon ladder mechanic or a salmon launcher. Yeah. What else is good? I feel like I had something else to say, but I can't remember what it was. So maybe I didn't. All right. Well, we've blissened up.
Yep.
Let's see. Man, there really was something. I'm gonna come back to it later because it's already killing me that I can't think of it. This is why you write things down, folks. This is why you write things down. Okay, but moving on. Vilos, why don't you lead the charge here and tell the class what we're talking about this week?
Yeah, I'm pretty much going to go on my little spiel here about the one thing that we wanted to bring up and we mentioned last week, but it's a fluid topic, so it's not something that we have definitive things on right now to really get into. We have opinions, obviously, but briefly, we wanted to address the game development elephant in the room. That is
Game
the Unity
development.
announcement. Yes.
There, I got one.
We need booze in chat for that one. So Unity made an announcement a few days back on the 13th. So they decided, well, first off, Unity is really well known as being one of the best game engine providers for indie development over the past few years. And in large part because they have a really huge community that has this huge knowledge base. Like it's a really supportive community that if you're just starting with a game engine, that's where you go. There's endless YouTube alongside the actual Unity services as far as the teaching goes, the long-term education on the product and things like that. It's all kinds of stuff is there. The community is huge, and they obviously there's a charge for the service, but Unity decided to make a pricing update to all of a sudden be at the start of 2024, called the runtime fee. And this runtime fee equates to, at the base, it equates to 20 cents per install of the game. Once the game has hit 200,000 plus installs and at least $200,000 in revenue. Mind you, Steam also takes 30% of 30% as their cut just for having the game on Steam. So the thing there is that a lot of developers, a lot of indies especially, but obviously some AAAs also use Unity at times. This is something that really kills an industry. Like, for example, if you know anything about the restaurant industry, right now, a lot of businesses are being hit because of the other companies that are being predatory towards them for a variety of reasons, where a restaurant owner can be hit by a 30% commission for this company, a 20% commission by this company, a 10% commission by this company. So if they're not running every single thing on their own in a very particular way, like they're starting at the starting gate of their business, they are just getting inundated and losing money the entirety of the time. Like there's very little chance for success. And in the case of these devs that have been using Unity, this is a killer. I mean, you announce something in middle of September to change at the start of the next year, 3 months. And a lot of these developers have been working on games for anywhere between 2 to 5 years. They can't, it's not a possibility to just take everything you have and put it into another game engine. It doesn't work like that on the development side. There are certain things that you can take and put it into a new engine, but the infrastructure, the way that things work, it just doesn't happen like that.
I mean, imagine that you're 3 months from publishing your game and you've been at it for 3 years, and suddenly, the Fire Nation attacks. Like, what can you do? It's been as someone who has 0 game dev experience and only knows what he sees online. Sure, a lot of backlash. People are not happy because not only, well, there are a lot of reasons to not be happy about this, but for a lot of small people, they don't have weight to throw around. You vote with your pocketbook, and in this case, with all these very small indies where it's maybe one person making a game, what weight are they going to throw around? So a lot of them feel helpless. Like some big companies have thrown their weight around. The dev for Slay the Spire made their first public announcement ever in relation to this, where they were like, yo, a bunch of devs were like, yo, we're just going to stop using this. We're going to either unpublish our game or we're completely going to start from scratch to move away from the service because that's how serious we are. But it's scary, especially for the teeny tiny indies, because they don't have weight to throw around at all. Like they're just at the mercy of Unity. But boy, how to lose public trust in 60 seconds,
And it was literally just a complete 180. And the thing is that, thankfully, with the support of the entirety of the industry, basically, because there are just about 250,000, so 250,000 people that are dealing with Unity right now. Right now, since there was so much backlash, Unity has gone back and said their pricing is back to square one. They haven't said what that's going to be, but it took 4 whole days for them to go back on it. So we'll see how it goes. Again, it's a fluid situation. Surprisingly not. I feel like something has been destroyed a little bit faster than that. But I mean,
but what a year for
the PC guy, artisan, what's his face? He literally got like super duper canceled in like a day.
I mean, I guess Linus Tech Tips kind of did too. That was pretty quick.
What is up with the industry?
And that's
right
all
now?
this year.
This year. Okay, no kidding. It might be fun to have a whole topic over like the quickest like 180s or the quickest cancels of 2023. Because the ones off the top of my head, we've got Wizards of the Coast and their stuff. That happened this year, right? I'm pretty sure it did.
That was a while back.
Well, we'll expand it, but Wizards of the Coast doing their stuff that everybody hated. And then, just what they rolled back on, they were like, okay, never mind. We don't want to do that, but it was too late. And now like Critical Role, which is the biggest, the biggest IP in Dungeons and Dragons besides Dungeons and Dragons. There's Critical Role and Pathfinder, which are both offshoots or incorporations of D&D 5th edition. And they just said, peace, we're out. We're going to do our own new thing. And even when Wizards of the Coast reverted their stance, it was like, bro, it's too late. Like, why did you take this huge confident step with no foresight on how badly the backlash would bite you, But yeah, them, and you could say something about Twitter, boy, that the website formerly known as Twitter. Lots of yikes over there, lots of yikes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I no kidding. That would be fun to have maybe a competition to have like the top 10 biggest betrayals, the top 10 anime betrayals of 2023.
But the good thing is that there is power in communities, and we saw that flexed a little bit this week. That was nice. There was a lot of kindness going around, and again, it was an executive decision at Unity's part. So like a lot of developers were like, hey guys, just remember, definitely bash Unity for what it's doing, but don't make it personal. There's a lot of people at Unity that did not agree with it. And anybody that works in a tech industry, very highly corporate situation, that's me. Like you see this shit every day. And it is one of those situations where you're like, I can yell from the rooftops every day of my work life, and it's not going to change it unless the people at the top change. So,
but the people at the top are living different lives, just in completely different worlds.
Really,
exactly.
really do.
Yeah. So
Something I
hopefully
saw that
stuff
was neat
can
that came
change.
out of this was like, besides like all the public statements and stuff, there was one from I can't remember the name of the studio, but the developer of like Terraria. They are super duper funding the other like smaller indie engines, Godot and oh gosh, another one. Uh, I
Yeah.
wish I could. Oh,
The dev is Relogic.
Relogic. Thank
Yeah.
you. But they're doing like $100,000 to both of the engines, Godot and the other one I can't recall, and then $1,000. Did they say a month or a year? Going forward, so that they have the funding to move forward with like their development, and so that other studios can use them and things like that. And I think that that kind of like just camaraderie, like they see that's what you call really throwing your weight around, you
Hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I shared that somewhere in one of the discords. We'll have to find that later and share it again to our socials because it was a big deal. Really cool of them for sure. Like they literally put their money where their mouth is, and that's again, they're one of the developers that are going to be affected by this.
FNA engine
There you go.
is the other
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
and that's the other another positive from all this is that more people realize that there's not a whole lot of game engines that are available publicly, but there are more than just Unity and Unreal. So it's been
Who'd
a
have thought?
pretty fun educational experience there.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, more to come with Unity stuff because the the Unity, well, I guess Unity itself has not stuck its landing yet. It's unclear where we're gonna end up in the next couple weeks, but boy, what a ride! What a ride! I don't think anyone won. No one came out of this one on top. It just made everybody nervous for the landscape of game development. So, oofs in chat, but yeah, we'll see where that shows up, and we'll maybe have a little blurb on it in a future episode once we know more information. But that's Unity stuff. Vilos, what else do we got today?
I guess there were some shows that happened.
Oh, were there?
There was a Nintendo Direct and a State of Play last Thursday, and today there was an Xbox showcase at Tokyo Game Show. So really, we can get into whoever wants to go first.
Well, I'm sitting back and eating my popcorn, so you two duke it out.
Okay.
I don't start fights, I finish them.
Okay, I'll have to find something to get like really spicy. So there were definitely a lot of great things there. Obviously, Nintendo Direct was my personal favorite, and Sid's usually favorite. But Tales of Arise, Beyond the Dawn, a nearly full game experience expansion of Tales of Arise
I hope that's how
that
they
came out a
describe
few
it.
years ago. Yes.
Is it kind of like the Lorna? What's it called from Xenoblade Chronicles? Like Lorna
Oh,
Shore? Or
Torna.
Lorna Shore is a band. What is it called?
Torna. Torna of the Golden Country is what you.
Torna. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. What it looks like this is a legitimate, like really potentially meaty expansion of Tales of Rise, which was like 3 or 4
Meaty.
years ago when that came out. So it was out of nowhere. Tales of Arise Beyond the Dawn was announced, and we're getting it November 9th, which is amazing. But that means that I have to finish Tales of Arise. So that's officially moved up on my JRPG list to like the second to next one. And unfortunately, with that, despite my gauntlet being over this year, like all of the freaking announcements for Nintendo and State of Play felt like JRPGs. So I'm screwed. I will never stop playing video games. And
I was
biggest
worried you
one,
were going to. You were going to run out.
yeah, obviously going to run
The
out.
backlog ever expands.
Yeah. So the biggest one that everybody's talked about really is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the second part of the remake series of Final Fantasy VII. We got the official date for that. That's February 29th of 2024. The cool thing about that is that there is a twin pack deal that you can get the remake and Rebirth. Right now, you can get it for the price of one game. If you pre-order the Rebirth Twin Pack deal right now, it's $70.
That's awesome for both.
Yeah, so that's remake plus the intergrade, like the big excessive chunk that came out after the initial release, and the Rebirth. And you're actually, because of the way the Sony store works, you're able to play the remake stuff and integrate stuff immediately, and obviously the Rebirth pre-order just opens up once the game actually releases. The only sad thing there is that there's not a physical bundle. It's only a digital deal.
Oh.
Yeah. Because the Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade physical copies are going for like $100+ right now, physical, because there were like 10 of them released. So if you find one like just in the wild and it's like a regular game price, just fucking grab it. It's going to be worth money pretty soon. But all the stuff that they showed of Rebirth, gorgeous. They're redoing so much of the Final Fantasy VII story. It's ridiculous. Like they're bringing Zack back from the dead and
Zack's back, baby.
Potentially keeping everybody alive, and then probably killing Cloud at the end. I don't know.
Whoa.
There's a lot of really fun speculation going on. It is what it is. I'm definitely going to enjoy that. So that means Final Fantasy VII Remake, I am playing it next year. Cool. Unicorn Overlord. Sounds like a ridiculous ass game.
It does.
Guess what?
What?
I mean, so does Triangle Strategy.
Well,
and like
that's
other
exactly what I was going to say. Unicorn Overlord is Triangle Strategy, basically.
Hell yeah. Okay, well, even though I already own Triangle Strategy but have not loaded it up, I'll be interested to see if this could be one I could load up and actually play. Hold on, before you, at least the beginning, because there's no way I'm ever.
That's a challenge.
That is.
Has that challenge been issued? After Vespers, of course.
After Vespers.
Yes. But Unicorn Overlord, the cool thing about it is that it's created by the same people that made 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, which I've talked about before. It's an Atlas game. I mean, they literally cannot make bad RPGs. They cannot.
Like, they can re-release them though.
They can. So they actually, it is another strategy game, but it's actually like a mix of a Triangle Strategy and a Fire Emblem game. The little bit of video that we did see showed off like 1v1 battles, but also like greater tactical strategies where you're commanding like chunks of the field. So it's involved. It's beautiful. It's got a really great like watercolor-esque art style mixed with some cell shading. Ooh. And then as far as the writing is concerned, I swear to you, like if you just listen to the trailer, it's gonna sound exactly like Triangle Strategy. Like every word, you're just like, wow, these are the whitest people, whitest names. Like, can they be more like? Can they just stop trying to recreate Game of Thrones and like Robin Hood at the same time? It's all ridiculous. But
what was the name of that one guy from? I can't even remember which RPG it was at this point. I think it was Triangle Strategy, but it was like it's Scariot something.
It wasn't Triangle Strategy, but I was trying to think of that one too.
That one was from the one that you're thinking of is from DL Field Chronicle, and I cannot remember the name, but like the main character in Triangle Strategy was Serenoa Wolford. So yeah,
you guys just keep chatting. I got homework to do. I'm gonna find the list of the names here because
it's
this
very
is
similar.
Such a good one.
Yeah. Unicorn Overlord, though, it looks like it's actually going to be better potentially than Triangle Strategy, which is saying a lot from me.
Wow.
But that comes out next March.
You know?
Yeah.
Get it?
Hey? No. Boo. And from there, I'm going to go ahead and bounce it to you, Sid, because I am kind of done with the JRPG talk for now. So,
are you sure?
Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna go back to you and be like, by the way, I just remembered.
I'm gonna try not to.
Okay. Well, you're right in that the Direct was my favorite like news outlet update. It usually always is. I mean, I never really care about what Xbox has to say, and then Sony, I don't have a PS5. I have a PS4, but they don't care about the system anymore. So it's just like, why pay attention, you know? But something did come out of the state of play that I thought I would enjoy, and that is Foamstars. It hasn't been announced yet, like release date wise, but there is an open beta coming up next weekend as of this podcast, this recording. So that would be the weekend of the 29th. Checking my calendar right quick. Yes. So the 29th to October 2nd for PS5 owners only, you can play during like the open beta of this game. So for the uninitiated, Foamstars is right now heralded by the public as a Splatoon knockoff. In the same way that the indie game Ramen was, where you played like the little munchkin men pushing around bowls of ramen and whatnot.
Yeah.
In which, I mean, fair. It's a fair comparison because I mean, since Splatoon came out, there's been nothing like it, and anything that comes out even remotely territorial, liquid based, it's just like, yeah, that's
Splatoon.
Splatoon.
Yep.
It's Splatoon. But I'm actually really excited about the premise of Foamstars because like even though it does have that like Splatoon-esque play, first of all, I'm obsessed with Splatoon anyway, so more of it in a different IP does not phase me at all. It's like when platform items come out. It's like I'll play Smash, I'll play Rivals, I haven't played Brawlhalla because it's too item based for my liking, but I'll play like, PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale, I'll play Multiverses, like all these other things. It's a genre, and genres will evolve, and as they evolve, more games in that genre will come out. So it's just like, yeah, the comparisons are there, they're fair, they're apt, but like, give the game a chance to form its own identity first. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm looking forward to playing Foam Stars for, to find out like what it's really about that sets it apart from games like Splatoon and Ramen. Because so far I really like the atmosphere. I like the environment and like the story and universe they're trying to build. It's like super like esportsy kind of affair, and it reminds me a lot of games that I really enjoyed playing um, earlier, like when they were first coming out, which was Monday Night Combat, which is I've talked about at length on here before, and Demolition All Stars, which I didn't get a lot of time on because it was a PS5 exclusive, and I could only play that while I worked at Place Redacted. But I had a lot of fun with that one too. So I love games in that kind of like we're totally an esports thing kind of theme.
It
It, it
definitely
it's
has that Knockout City vibe. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's in that way. It's kind of like meta, where they're playing with the idea of like the game being a game, like in the actual sense. But speaking of Splatoon, side order, y'all already know I have to constrain myself here because there's a lot that I want to say, and a lot that I noticed during the trailer, and I even rewatched it a couple of times to see if I picked up on anything new, which I did. And I'm just gonna say that I am so looking forward to this. I said last time when we kind of touched on the direct that if this turns out to be anywhere near as good as Octo Expansion was, I don't know what Nintendo can do to top Splatoon as an IP. Like it's already so popular in Japan. It's way more popular in Japan than it is here. It's like a whole cultural movement. They have fashion stores. They have like like lifestyles and stuff. Like things. It's like wholly integrated into their culture. And I wish that we had that here because it deserves its flowers. Splatoon does. But what's really interesting about Side Order is that it seems to be like a roguelike affair, which is, I mean, popular around here.
Yeah. What'd you say? What's that?
Shouldn't have told Tegan, no.
Hello.
Ooh, get Splatoon 3 for Switch.
Ooh, this is not gonna happen.
When's your birthday? But like the trailer showed off what's called like the color swatch palette, which will apparently influence the kinds of rooms and challenges that you'll take on during the campaign of the expansion. So not really a lot is known other than that. Like if you go back and watch the trailer, you can see that there are different modes to the rooms. So I saw the icon for splat zones being one of them. So I'm not really sure if you're fending off the waves of enemies while protecting a zone, or if there's like AI controlled enemies like the Octarian Octolings, which sometimes you have to face during the campaign. So we'll see how that evolves. But what's really intriguing is that there is a character who has like heretofore has like not been a prominent feature. Like you only ever see them in like cover art, basically, because they're a musical artist. And she shows up as a character named Oct. Her musical alias is Deadfish. So a lot of people were like really, really surprised to see her appeared during the trailer as like this main
Is the S
character.
a 5 in Deadfish?
The I is a 1.
Okay, so it is a Dead Mouse reference.
Yes. Oh man. I mean the music that she makes is, definitely in that kind of vibe. So they did not eschew away from that reference at all. But she seems to have a connection to like Marinette and Pearl of Off the Hook, at least according to the trailer. And I'm not really sure how much that's going to come into the play into the story. But I mean, I'm about to find out. But I have to wait until spring
Oh
of
wow,
2024.
Spring
It's gonna be
Tune.
such a long wait, especially since I hate winter. Like I already hate winter. Now I gotta wait. Now I have something to wait for at the end of winter, which makes winter even longer. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Hey, I want to call back. I did look up. I'm building the book of names as you guys are speaking right now. I'm also dropping. You guys can see this in chat. I'm dropping a bunch of links to the stuff we're talking about. You can see links to Foamstars, Tales of Arise, Final Fantasy VII in there if you want to follow up on that. Because there's plenty of information as well as trailers. But you were very close to the name on here. Iscariot? Let's see. Iscariot Colchester is one of the names.
That sounds like a disease.
Andreas. It's not Andreas. Andreas Ronderson.
No, that was totally like a Key and Peele. Like it was like exactly what you want it to be, but spelled incorrectly. Like just ridiculous.
This one is I think a female named Rickenback Medea. They're really good names. But I'm gonna keep adding those, and I'll drop some of those in chat here too. It's just
It
really
kinda
making
reminds
me
me of,
smile.
like, the original NES baseball game where
Mhm.
the Japanese had to come up with, like, American sounding names for the translation. So there's, like, Sleeve McDykel.
Oh, I'm gonna have to learn more about that.
That guy doesn't even need a nickname. Like that's perfect.
Bobson Dugnut, like, names like that. Like, these are names.
Oh no.
Those are Hall of Famers you're talking about.
Oh, you know what? Let me put some respect on it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Carl Dandleton.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
It's
don't worry. I'll report back when I get more of these because they're good. Chat, if you wanna give me more homework, if there are other games like Diofield Chronicles that just have real bangers of names, let me know. In fact, Saab, what was Sid? What were you talking about? This was from one of the original baseball. Like, was this a baseball game or was it the game of baseball that you're talking
It
about?
was a video game on NES. I can't remember if I can't remember if it was just baseball or if it was Bases Loaded, but it's one of the baseball NES games.
Okay, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this.
My
All right.
goodness.
What's next? What else we got?
Oh, it was fighting baseball on the SNES. It's hilarious. Google got it with NES baseball game with funny names.
Oh, lol. It wins right too.
Did you mean Sleeve McDykel?
Literally, it's like within 2 lines of the.
It really was the
search.
recommended thing. Yeah.
It's so great.
Wow.
Oh man, you really got your finger on the pulse there.
Yep.
So yeah, I'll bring it back to me. I'm gonna refuse to talk about one JRPG just because of spite right now.
Oh,
But Exoprimal. Some people have stopped playing it, but we need to start playing it again. Just throwing it out there
Called out.
because season 2 is coming on October 18th, and not only is there a new game type called Escape, which we've been asking for something, but it's a full 10 players. Everybody's friendly.
oh wow.
We're all just trying to survive. It's called Escape because you just fight hordes for probably an ungodly amount of time, probably like another 10-minute game limit or something like that. And then after a certain point, your point of escape is ready to go, and everybody has to just try to get there. So it looks a little bit like the Hive game type from Gears of War, which I think Gears 5 put into play. But that looks cool so far. The secondary part of the announcement, though, for season 2 is they had announced Guile and Ryu as skins before, but they also confirmed Chun-Li skin.
Okay, but who's it on though?
Who was it on?
Probably Nimbus.
I
'Cause she
think it
got a
was
booty
Nimbus.
though.
It was either Nimbus or Vigilant. But they also obviously added like emotes and stuff that are particular to these characters. So
I feel
it'll be a fun
like
time.
Cammy would be a better Vigilant.
You're probably right. Probably right. But
Hey, I dropped the tweet that was referenced in the article that mentions the base pack. Yes, it's kind of a rabbit hole. But if you click that tweet in chat, you'll see this person tweeted, my daughter thought these names were so funny that she drew the players. And I mean, good for the kid that,
that's awesome.
this is pretty cool and funny. But some of the names on here, Jeremy Grider, Carl Dandleton, Dwight Rorchigal, Mike Truck. And there's so many others. Glenn Allen, that's one first name. Glenn Allen Mixon. Onsen Sweeney. Oh boy.
I mean, Sleeve McDuck. That's probably my official favorite of all these, but he's like the most regular looking guy. Like Carl Dandleton on this image is a legend. His arms are actually twice the length of both of his legs, so he's an impressive specimen of a man. That this is actually a really great tweet.
This guy's name is Scott Dork. Last name Dourque. Dork.
Can we please add that to the?
They're going on the list. Names. They're going on the list. Man, that is good stuff. So what's next? We'll revisit this.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, that was Exoprimal. Again, there's multiple reasons to be excited about it. Also, they didn't revisit it in the trailer, but we should have a Neo Triceratops season 2.
Hell yeah! So, Triceratops that goes into bullet time.
Yes, exactly. My next one, it's just an interesting thing to keep in mind. Suda51, people know him for No More Heroes. Suda51 is collabing with Swery65, which I don't immediately remember what he's done. But he's very similar in game styles as Suda51, if I remember right. They had previously mentioned they were working on a collab, but it was officially revealed with gameplay today. Hotel Barcelona. Yeah. So, as usual, they always provide a very grindhouse narrative style, and that's exactly what this is. It's a side-scrolling action roguelike.
That's me.
Which they specifically called a 2.5D slasher film parodic action game.
What was the right before action game?
2.5D slasher film parodic action
parodic
game.
Like parody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought you were combining the words horror and erotic because those are two things that tend to go together. And I'm just like, man, you just coined this phrase casually?
Listen, they would also do that kind of game. They started it off with a very it was very weird how they presented it because it was in Japanese with English everything else, like English voice acting and English things on screen just happening because it's very comic book style as Suda51 always does, and it was just splashing bullshit across the screen at all times. So it was like flashing things like a number of villains or whatever in this hotel is like a basis of this story. It's a completely ridiculous anime type story, but it's something like you go into this hotel to take out these villains, but you might also be one of the villains. Like everybody's a psychopath sort of situation. Yeah, very weird, very typical of Suda51. As I put in the notes here, it doesn't look great, but
good. That's a good start.
Yeah, but that's kind of the thing with Suda51 games is they don't usually look great. They usually play all right. They're not usually great, but there's things like the writing that makes them a lot more interesting, and potentially this one does look like a so bad it's good sort of situation.
Good. Good.
The writing in the trailer was hilarious and or hilariously bad, because it sounded like a lot of localization issues were in the trailer.
Oh my gosh.
But
Set
the
us up
English,
for the bomb.
yeah,
Yeah.
like the English voice actors though, like absolutely nailed it and went full throttle. So that was like the whole point. Like they had all the stereotypical voices. Like I think there were New York voices, Louisiana voices. There were straight up redneck voices. Like all the stereotypical American shit. That's what Suda51 always does, and that's what he put in there.
So
Even
basically, if it's like a
yeah.
voice redemption on my channel, it can be found in that game.
yeah, and it would actually. It's probably going to be really fun to screw with that during a gameplay. But the gameplay itself did not look all that interesting for what it is. But it did have some cool looking boss fights and stuff, and obviously a roguelike that I think they had. I think they said it had 7 or 8 levels to the game, so it's probably pretty short as well. But nice little bite-sized fun, a very typical Suda51 experience that I didn't really see coming. So that was cool to see at the Tokyo Game Show showcase today.
Nice. So that's Hotel Barcelona.
Yes.
Cool. I'll drop a link to that in chat here too.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about that. That's really intriguing.
This just reminds me of because it's a hotel and the way that you described it as being weird and basically as being a watch for me, not a play. Reminded me that Demo Duo this week had El Paso Elsewhere on the wheel, and Sid and I both were like, "Where's Vilos? Where is he?"
Yeah, and I was literally asleep. Man, I
No,
fell
it's
asleep.
next week.
Right
It's
before.
for next week, so you didn't miss anything yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, that's coming out. That's coming out so soon.
Hey. I feel kind of bad though because like they were like reading his name and stuff, and I know that you've said it so many times that I could just like.
Well, Cram literally said what I put in the form for the
Oh yeah,
for the
yeah.
reel, so
submission.
it was pretty funny. Because when I watched the VOD back, I'm like, man, he missed it.
No. Well, bring it
Let's
back up
see.
to me then. I do have some more on here. Of course, I'm sure all the listeners are wondering, why haven't I talked about Princess Peach Showtime yet? I'm not really looking for it. No, I'm just kidding. Could you
Nice.
imagine
Wow.
if I ever say anything about that, like about anything Peach, like I'm an imposter, shoot me on sight. Like come and find me, send the teams, because that's not me. But this one is coming out. Actually, is March spring still?
Yes.
Wow. So I wonder if March is going to be like the D-Day for all the new games coming out next year. Like, Q1 or whatever you want to call it.
Well,
'Cause
there is that rumor that like within that next month we get the announcement. The
Of
big
what?
announcement
What?
I'm confused.
of whatever Nintendo's doing next.
Oh, sure.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, I really do not. I'm not tapped into like leaks or anything like that, so I really don't know what you're talking about. So interesting. Yay. Well,
Doesn't
cool.
sound. You don't sound like a detective at all.
No, I'm pretty sure I already figured it out.
Oh well.
But that's okay because even if I didn't, I could just become one. And Princess Peach Showtime. I almost said Super Princess Peach. That is a different game, and I actually do hope that gets a proper sequel because this is not a follow up to that. Contrary to popular belief, it is a separate Peach main character protagonist game. It's not in the series of Super Princess Peach at all. As far as we know, it doesn't have anything to do with the Mario Brothers. Bowser might make an appearance. I hope he does. I'm gonna be sad if he doesn't, because I don't. Who's like we know the villain is like some what's that name? Glamorous queen bitch. That's her name now.
She did kind of looked like some of the villains in the Mario and Luigi.
Yeah,
Like,
I was
Super
getting
Smash Bros.,
really
right?
big Cackletta vibes from her.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if they're behind, like, I don't think it's the Bean Kingdom, but I wonder if it's kind of in the same vein as like Mario and Luigi. It's not turn-based. It seems to be like live action combat. It's not like, you have the super inputs and everything from what we've seen. But I mean, maybe it's made by the same like offshoot studio. Who knows? But I'm sure we'll find out more information on that as time progresses because what we saw in that direct is definitely not all we're going to see of that game, especially considering the very game-specific Super Mario Wonder or Super Mario Brothers Wonder direct that they did, which reveals literally everything about the game. Do not watch that direct because you will not be surprised about anything. And I'm so sad. Like I watched it was like a 20-minute long video, and I didn't know this when I put it on. And I was just like halfway through it, and I was just like, "What is this? Why are they saying everything that you can do? Like this is
Yeah, you're not going to wonder anything.
yeah, where's the wonder?"
Right. Yeah.
I was so mad. But we get to be kept in the dark a little bit more. They're being a little bit more tight-lipped about Princess Peach Showtime, for which I'm grateful. There are a couple of stage doors that we see in the trailer that they don't mention on like during the direct. So like we know about the sword fighter, we know about the detective, we know about kung fu, we know about chef. There was one more, I think. I can't remember. But then there was like another one that we didn't see during the trailer, but like when the camera pans back, you see like a door that has like a symbol that doesn't relate to any of the things that we saw previously. So I was just like, I wonder how many transformations there actually are, you know?
I mean, it did give me a lot of Luigi's Mansion vibes as far as the gameplay goes. So I do wonder if it's going to be another like 10 to 12 hour experience instead of something bigger than that.
Yeah. I mean, Mario's got like his own series, and then Luigi has his own series. So it's about time that Peach has her own series too. Like, I don't know what they'd be able to do after Showtime, like instead of theater, does she go to like, does she advance her career and become like an astronaut or like a marine biologist? Like, because this is very Barbie, the whole thing is Barbie. You can be anything you want. You don't need no man to tell you what to do, This game passes the Bechdel test in every way, and I'm here for it. And by the way, I made that Barbie game like comparison before GameStop did. I even called them out on Twitter. I was just like, because I tweeted like a whole maybe half hour. I was just like, oh, this got Barbie written all over it. And then half hour later, I see GameStop, blah 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 Barbie, and I was like, oh wow, not me being GameStop to punch. Do. They like the tweet, so they knew.
Well,
But honorable mentions from the direct because I mean there was so much. There was so much in that direct. It was action packed and full of stuff that was like really well received. A lot of people online were really impressed with everything that it had to offer, except for the people who weren't. Which um, there's like, what are you expecting anymore? Like,
Tears of the
oh
Kingdom
no,
3.
no Smash Bros. Oh, like people who are directed in it. What do you even have to be disappointed in? What are you expecting? Is I guess the question.
If it was exclusively Metroid Prime 4 or the Twilight Princess and Wind Waker remakes, and that was it, they'd be like 10 out of 10. Every other direct was mid.
No, I
like-
don't believe that those people can be happy. They're hanging out in YouTube chat during
That's
every
actually-
live stream
yeah,
we've
that's
ever
pretty cool.
seen.
They're clowny McFrownies.
Yep, Clowny McFrownies.
But more all of that to say that I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there that just kind of like they whizzed by. You know how they have the big major announcements, and then they're just like rapid fire. Here's some announcements, blah blah blah. I really enjoy the idea of Battle Crash because first of all, everyone like battle royales are like the thing. They've been the thing for quite a while, but everybody likes a good little isometric sort of potato-y affair every now and then, right? And this really speaks up to me. Like it's like DKO, Divine Knockout, but like the Royale and also like top downy sort of affair. I'm excited because that's going to be like a nice little time sink. And I know it's going to be a game as a service because of course it is. Like it's a battle royale. We're going to have some kind of seasonal pass of some kind, and I'm going to want all the cosmetics, and I'm just going to become obsessed with it. I already know. So if you see me, no lifing it for like the next 2 months, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
I didn't remember seeing it on the direct, but I did just look it up on Steam and
Yeah, it was
the
one of those
playtest
rapid fire. They
one.
showed it like 10 seconds of gameplay. It's like a
The play-
team-based isometric battle royale sort of affair. And I can't remember, is it based on gods or am I mixing two
It looks like it's based on gods, yeah, on mythology.
Yeah, okay, all right, cool.
We are in the registration period right now for the playtest. So
It is with that website.
you can do that on Steam for sure. I'm gonna drop that.
Oh, okay.
Drop that in there for you.
All right, well, I'm doing that.
There
So
we go.
on top of that, I'm also, of course, looking forward to Super Mario RPG because everybody is. I mean, who's not? Honestly, like, it was one of the greatest, most revered games of the Super Nintendo generation. Like, no holds barred. So everyone is going to be getting that game. And what's really cool is that you can toggle between the old and the new music, which after hearing some of the new music, I'm glad you can do, because where's the life? Where's the vivre? Like, where's it at? When you're in the forest, the bouncy tuba from the old song, like the do 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 do, like they creates the forest whimsy. It's gone in the new arrangement.
Wow.
I'm like, that made the song. Forget the new music. I'm listening to old music. I don't know what you're saying.
Whimsy,
right.
more like whoopsie. You know.
Okay,
Okay,
no
chat,
boost for that
don't
one.
boo him for that one. That was good.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. I'm glad you got my back. That's
And
cool
then
that you can
observe
switch
and
back and
react.
forth, though. Is that's not that common in games, right? Like in remakes, usually you get one or the other. I mean, in the Halo, like Master Chief stuff, you could switch graphics at any time between new and old, but I don't know if I can think of any time that you could switch audio in the remake.
There's like
yeah.
Pokemon, various Pokemon remakes have done that. So Heart Gold, Soul Silver, they introduced like the Game Boy sounds. So after you beat the Pokemon League for the first time, you get like an item called, I think it's just called the Game Boy sounds, and it looks like a Game Boy pocket with like little earbuds coming out of it. And you can use that to change between the modern, like DS, like sound font, or the original Game Boy sound font, which I thought was really cool.
That is cool.
And you are technically right as far as it hadn't been a thing for a long time, but it came back a couple years ago with Dragon Quest XI: Echoes of an Elusive Age. That not only did the soundtrack, it did that where you can switch that, but it also made it where you could play the very 3D RPG in the 2D realm of the original Dragon Quest. So even on the Switch version, which I have yet to play, but I have it.
That's actually really cool. I wonder.
It's really funny. Like it just flattens everything to cute little 2D pixels. It's really funny.
That's cool.
And then how does that work, like coding wise? That's so fascinating.
Yeah, no, it makes no sense like that, because it was very reminiscent of if you played Hyrule Warriors, the first one, the adventure mode or whatever. It very much felt like that, like transferring from the 3D to the map of the adventure mode. But yeah, I don't know how you can do that for the entirety of the game, but they did it. And then Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster had the rearranged version of all the music that you can switch on the fly too.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. What's the game you were just describing, Sav, with the tuba, with the jungle theme?
Oh, Super Mario RPG.
Super Mario RPG, cool.
Yeah, Legend of the Seven Stars. I wonder why they got rid of the subtitle for that. It's not because it's too much of a mouthful. Because we have
they
like
don't worry about
Near
that.
Automata is edition 92563 point whatever, and then we got Kingdom Hearts and everything with all their titles.
Yeah, Japanese companies are not worried about the length of their titles.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they didn't actually take it off, but they are. I think they're just saving a little bit of the mystique for the release.
They didn't want to pay for the Twitter thing where you could have more characters or whatever. I don't know how it works.
I wonder how much influence that actually has.
It could have a little bit, actually.
Actually, well, in this specific case, probably. I mean, maybe not that much, but maybe I know a couple of people who work in marketing who actually do have to figure out ahead of time, like when they're I don't want to dox this person, but they work for a very high profile company and they need to be able to tweet things out, like to have tweets ready to go way in advance to roll out as the releases are happening in real time. And the recent, or not recent, this was like maybe 2 years ago, there was some change to character limits on Twitter, and it completely changed the way their like methodology of how they had to do stuff. And I remember I just hadn't really thought about how much, like they were essentially saying, my friend was essentially saying that when the limit changes, it changes the amount of work that goes into how fast can you type up a tweet or respond to a tweet in how long. And like the number of seconds that it takes you is the important thing there. So like saying that the tweets are different lengths because the URLs work a certain way was like, this will take X amount of seconds longer. So we have to change our whole like production, like our whole flow. And I was like,
That
wow.
is zany.
Yeah.
Listen, that's why Square is not doing another DL-filled Chronicles. They can't handle Andreas Ronderson. All right.
Bring back names like Mike Truck, and you can fit so many names into those
Without the
tweets.
C, by the way, it's Mike Truk. I want the listeners who were able to check out the link to know this. Mike Truck.
Those,
there's got to be a ball player that has something close to that in real life.
His home run theme song is that meme abridged version of Smooth Criminal by Michael Jackson, where it's like, you've been struck by truck.
No, we need to get somebody on that immediately. Our top men or women or anybody else.
I do need to meet these top men.
Yes. Speaking of meeting these top men, the Baldur's Gate 3 memes just keep rolling out, and Sid, I think you got to play that game at some point. There's a lot to enjoy in there, if you know what I mean. If you ever wanted to take a shot at a co-op campaign together, that'd be pretty fun. Okay, well, let's see. Do we? I think we've covered everything. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Cool. I didn't even watch the trailer, but in the Sony State of Play, there was a new Marvel Spider-Man trailer. So if that's your thing, go look it up. I'm sure it's great. Cool. Now I've officially contributed to the conversation, so that feels good. And with that, I think that's our party topic. So that was the Nintendo Direct, Sony State of Play, which are both last week, and the Tokyo Game Show, which just started today, to the best of my knowledge. So lots of stuff. We'll be back again next week with what we've been playing. If you'd like to contribute to that conversation, and if we could read your submission on the air, join our Discord. We've got a channel called What We've Been Playing, and you can tell us there, how your trials and tribulations have been going in whatever games you're playing. Maybe you're playing something cozy, maybe something exciting. There's lots of good stuff, and we've been tuning in. I've been watching Twitch a whole lot more the past couple weeks, and it's been great watching people play a wider variety of things. So let us know on there. There's a link to our Discord and chat, discord.gg/partyinvite-show. So let's see what else. I mentioned Zomboid earlier, I guess, as our final word here. If you would like to join us for Project Zomboid, we are going to probably play the most consistently on Saturdays, but we'll see. But the game is a lot of fun. If you've never played a survival sim like this before and you want to see what it's about, this is a great one to jump in on. I think the game's $20 at full price, but it also goes on sale all the time. Play with us. It's great. It's super fun. And the mods always, like the in-game downloadable mods, always add for a fresh experience. So if you'd like to play that or any other number of co-op, competitive, or survival sim games, we play a whole bunch of stuff. I know Vilos is always, he's leaning in to tell you about Exoprimal. Am I right?
Actually, it was for Wargroove, but I pre-ordered that day of the other day. Last Thursday, I pre-ordered Wargroove too. So there's going to be co-op, and there's going to be 1v1, and there's more than that. You can actually, I believe, once you beat the main campaign, you can actually co-op campaign create. So anybody that's going to be on that Wargroove 2 train, I am game all the time, next month, Wargroove 2, because you have to beat the game in order to be able to create campaigns this time.
Which means what again? Remind me.
And you can literally create your own campaigns in Wargroove from base level. You have base assets and you make your entire map.
Ooh, so you can give them all sorts of fun names.
You can give them names. You can make actual cutscenes in the entirety of the game engine. It's amazing. And yeah, Wargroove 2.
That's wild. Okay, Vilos is always putting out the call for Exoprimal. Go fight dinosaurs.
That too.
Sure. In the future, I think. There's time travel in this game. It's great.
It's ridiculous, but yes.
It is ridiculous. What else are we playing? I'm sure we're playing other stuff. I'm doing the first planning phase of a community Valheim server. We've played a couple times in a few different places on the internet before, but there's new content out for that. Not that I've seen any of the in-game content. But if you're someone who would like to be notified when I have more information on that, just let me know. You know where to find me on Discord. Or, of course, if you let me know here in chat, I can send you to the right place. But going to be really interested in doing that. Can't decide if I want to do a rented dedicated server or not. But we're going to hash out the details so the most people can have the most fun. But I really want to build some towns. I want to do what we always talked about, build a whole town with a huge wall around it that has houses and a community space. I know later on in the game you can make a hot tub, which I remember seeing on Mortis the Saurus's server. You can put a hot tub in the middle and everybody can come just chill out, you know. But I'm really excited to play that game because I've gotten to the same exact part of that game like 3 times. The exact same place. And every single time, whoever I'm playing with has just stopped playing. So I would love to see the end of that game someday. So eventually, after we've settled down on Zomboid for a bit again, I'll put out the call for that. But come play with us. It's great. No previous experience required. Okay. Is that everything? I think we're about ready to move on to party animals. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Very much so.
yeah. So everybody here in chat, stick around for a bit. Party Animals has a fun website. I believe it's partyanimalgame.com or something. Just Google
Boy.
it.
Risky there.
I've loved, yeah. Oh, yeah, that is risky. I've really enjoyed looking up game websites lately. They seem to be a lot more robust than they were, 5 or 10 years ago. So that's a cool one to check out. If you would like, well, it's just going to be the 3 of us playing tonight, but if you would like to join us in the future for this game, Halo Infinite. We definitely want to play more Halo Infinite. Then pop in. I've already said where to go. So we will be back next week for another podcast. I'll be back next Monday for another roguelike stream. You can catch this week's stream of Dave the Diver and last week's. Next week, we're very likely to play Gunbrella. I think that's what I'm going to land on. Fortunately, the community voted, and it was pretty split between Dave the Diver, Gunbrella, and
Side order.
What's the sleeping one? Dreamscaper. So
I don't think there's a single person that dislikes Dave the Diver, though.
Yeah,
so.
That game rules. It's super fun. So anyway, we'll be right back with more party animals, but for everybody else, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Later.